Welcome back into a very special episode of the Joe Show Talk Show, where I am joined by
Me!
This is my boyfriend Joshua. He's going to be joining us for this episode. We are very excited. We watched a lot of reality shows yesterday. It was my first day off of the week, and we are about to get into it. So I've got my notes, and we might be joined by some special guests, i.e. my doggies, but we'll see how this goes. So the first thing I want to get into, Josh, is...
Hot topics.
Well, yeah. Well,
hot topics.
These are all sort of hot topics.
The Joe Show's hot topics.
Oh, I love that little jingle. That's nice. We went to musical theater school, so we can both sing as well. Anyway, so the first thing I want to get into is Bravo. What are your final thoughts on Salt Lake? I know we still have one more episode of the reunion, but what are your final thoughts?
I like the ladies. And I think...
Who's your favorite? Even before the reunion, who's your favorite?
Whitney.
I'm a big Whitney fan as well. I like her. Something I did want to get into is let's talk about the looks. I did pull up the looks here last night, so right here. Okay, so first we've got Jen. I'll put pictures maybe. Jen, she was wearing that long sequiny outfit with the ponytail.
I think they all look great.
They all look great. Mary, I'm not a fan of this orange. And Mary herself said that she did not like her makeup.
No, I think she looks fine. I think she looks like she's wearing just a drape.
I think Lisa Barlow, her outfit probably looked good when she was standing up, but when she stood up, she was like, before she sat down, after she stood up, it just wasn't it. It was all wrinkly, and I own a steamer, I know what it does, so I don't know, just didn't really work. So, and then Meredith was wearing a classic, I don't know, she always serves the looks. I did really like Heather with her gown.
My favorite.
It looked like a nice PA draped it over elegantly, and it looked nice. And then Whitney, Whitney looks like sort of like a Christmas. I don't know if they filmed this during Christmas time.
I loved her Christmas look.
Yeah, it was a very holiday Barbie. Okay. So I think for looks for first season out of the gate, A+. Great job, ladies. So just a couple hot takes while we're here. So some thoughts on Mary. Josh, I wrote down hospital. So we found out a little bit more this week that first of all, that Jen might have not even been at the hospital that day, which is breaking news for us. Not even at the hospital. So what was Mary's? And Mary was like, "Oh no, I smelt hospital." I was like, "Oh, so
maybe Jen."
So something's going on. Either Jen didn't shower, or we're gonna have to look. Maybe it's like that episode of That's So Raven when Raven gets the cheese put in the vents. There must be something left over in her vents, so we might need to call the HVAC guy. The next thing is, what do we think of Jen's apology to Mary that she was sort of forced to do? If you were Mary, would you accept Jen's apology?
No. I feel like Jen was just I'm sorry.
She was like,
I just want to be on season 2.
She's like, I'm sorry, I just want to be on season 2, and I realized that I probably was pretty bad and pretty, controversial up until, the last episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. What do you think of Mary's relatives cleaning her house? We found out during part 2 of the reunion this week that Mary's, grandmother's sister and her daughter, cleans her house. And Mary didn't...
found offense to this.
I found offense to this. Josh did not... Oh. I told you
he said,
but he's always here for the party. But, I did find offense to this. The part I found offense to, specifically...
I understand.
Was when she said... What did she say? She was like, I have a big house, and they have a tiny apartment, and I pay for the apartment, so they clean my house. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing. It just wasn't good. It did not look. It didn't sound good. It didn't look good.
I understand.
But overall, Mary in that whole.
But if a family member cleans your house, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, me neither.
What if they
if they're getting paid, I'm sure they're getting paid.
Yeah, I'm sure she's not I'm just paying their rent and they can't get food and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. So the next thing I wrote down was Mary's marriage. So apparently they sleep in separate beds. We found that out. I'm talking about Mary and her step-grandfather / husband.
The sad part is Mary didn't have a storyline because Jen just kept yelling at her.
She had no storyline.
She never could tell
and she was never invited
anything about her life. She had to tell it all on the reunion. Mm-hmm. Mary's whole storyline was the reunion.
Yeah, we found out everything on part 2 of the reunion about Mary that we probably could have found out, I don't know, like...
Episode
the
2.
The whole season. And then what do you think about what Mary said about her congregation? Like, I'm still not quite sure. She said that people give her money... No, but she's a God-fearing woman and that she would never take their money.
No.
But how many houses does she have?
The taped conversation.
Well, the taped conversation as well, yeah, but she was commenting on that. So, what do you think? I still think she's taking money from those people. There's no way.
I guess so. She was saying that she was saying, like, she was preaching, she was telling a story, and they're taking it out of context.
Right. Which, I don't really know where a context where that would be acceptable, but...
I guess you're right.
Overall, I will say that Mary's faces during the reunion were an A+. I was obsessed with them, and Mary in general for the reunion gets a slow clap, because that was great. A+. So far, loving Mary. She can come back, and I'm ready. Hopefully with some new wigs, we'll get some gay people over to Salt Lake. Hopefully everyone will get vaccinated by the time.
Season 2 always.
Season 2 will be a glow up. All right, so next let's get into Lisa Barlow. We brought up again this week that Lisa didn't know Heather. We're like...
I was confused.
I was still confused by that. So I still to this day have no idea if they know each other or if they did not know each other before the show because they said that...
went to college together.
I thought they went to college together or they didn't go to college together but they were similar in college. And then... But the gag of it all was she recommended Heather, Lisa did, for this show. For the show, but how could you recommend someone you don't know? That's all. I don't know. I still am not. I'm still kind of fuzzy on like what happened there.
Heather was coming out of the gate. She was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna yell at everyone."
Yeah. We'll get into Heather in a second. But what do you think of the next thing Lisa Barlow said, which got me? Which she goes, "Britney and Heather or Whitney and Heather, bad weather." Remember that? Spinning the drama and letting it go. I don't know. She said something wild. Something that could have been like
if your friends would say, I'd be like,
oh my god, no, it was ridiculous. It almost sounded like Elsa's song in the third Frozen movie. Like it made no sense. And I was like, okay, yeah, she had a couple cocktails and her husband was like, yeah, say that. Like it made no sense. Then then the next thing I wrote down was Lisa hates Heather. If there's anything that I learned in this reunion, it's like those girls are not friends. They were not friends. During the show, they seemed to be pretty friendly, but they were definitely not friends. During all of that.
I think Heather is just hurt because she feels Jen protected Lisa. And attacked Heather.
Yeah, she's really mad at Jen, and she came into this reunion, Heather did, wanting blood for Jen, and Lisa sort of is like almost on Jen's side, which is a little suspect. The next thing, so then they go to, we'll get back into this when we talk about Heather, but the moment when they call lunch, and they keep the cameras rolling, that was juicy. So we'll get there. Anyway, so next person I want to talk about is Jen Shaw. First thing that's brought up is the Mary Grandpa effer. And Queen Andy Cohen asked her what she thought, if she apologized, and what Mary thought about all that. So what do you sort of think about how Jen went about bringing that up and then kept bringing it up on social media? The whole grandpa thing. Like, do you
That's mean.
I think that's mean. I know. It's like I can't imagine. Like
I think after once on the show, it's like Mary's a grandpa fucker, and then you're like, okay, sorry, I said it. It came out because we're in the heat of the show,
and
it's a fun time. It's a good line.
It's a good line,
but the grandpa fucker.
Okay, but we definitely didn't need it to be brought up every time, and she sort of like to keep bringing it up on social media. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah.
The next thing I said would, Josh, do you think you would be scared of Jen, like, if she was in your friend group? Like, it seems like all these ladies are a little frightened of her. Like, would you be afraid of her, or would you try to at least be on her side?
I feel like I would get along with Jen. Because I feel like she is coming from a place. She's also gone through depression and stuff. So I feel like things just trigger you in those moments that you're like, you just don't know how to. You're like, whatever. And
it is great.
It takes control of you.
Yeah.
So,
and I appreciate Bravo for going into that during this season. It's an important discussion to have, especially in 2021 about mental health. So that's great. But I would be frightened of her. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, she scares me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, she throws glasses. She breaks things. Anyway, like, it just, like, I don't know. She would definitely just be, like, a scary girl for me. The next thing I wanted to say is, did you see where Jen was coming from with Whitney?
About what?
Like, when Whitney was, like, mad. I don't know. Did you see where, no. Did you see where Jen was coming from? I guess in general. I guess you kind of answered that. But, yeah, you did. So you did see where she was coming from on most things.
Yeah, but I understand. Whitney thought it was...
It's nothing to do with Whitney. It has nothing to do with Whitney.
I know, but Whitney asked everyone. She's like, is it a good time? And they're like, yeah, she won't be as crazy. But they should have thought, no, it's her husband's party.
I don't think she should have. We're talking about when Whitney went up at
they thought it wasn't
Jen Shaw's dad, not her dad, this show. Jen Shaw's husband's surprise party or whatever. And Whitney decided to go up and like bring something up, and Jen freaked out and ended up throwing a glass. And I mean, did you see where she was coming from in that? I guess you did. Anyway, so the next thing I wanted to get into is Whitney, and I'm gonna be honest, we said that we really liked Whitney. There was nothing said during this last part of the reunion, and I don't know if I just didn't pay attention during the first part, but all I wrote down is just like a bunch of letters, just so I have a placeholder.
She is, what's it called? It will probably be in the final one.
Probably in the final one. We love Whitney overall. We love the dad storyline.
They'll bring it up about the dad.
Yeah, we're interested because apparently, like, the show, I guess, broke him. I don't know. We'll find out next week.
It'd probably be Meredith too. They didn't really talk about.
They didn't really go into Meredith either. But Heather, now that we're getting into it, overall, I would say that she seems like a good mom.
She's great.
Overall, I think she came out something like a rose this season. Like, she really like. I'm ready. She opened her bigger business. The husband comes in, and I'm glad they divorced. And overall, I don't know. She came into the reunion guns blazing, which is like, honestly, that's how we like our Real Housewives. So, but something I did want to get into is what was your reaction to them calling lunch and then just like the drama kept going with Lisa and Heather. It just like kept going. They kept screaming. They were not getting up. The other ladies were getting up.
They knew what Heather knew was like when they get back, they won't ever talk about it again.
Exactly. So they were going to move on.
Heather was like, well, I guess it's time.
I think Lisa knew that too. Lisa did exactly the same thing.
She was like,
she was causing a lot of that.
She's like, I'm going to think, yeah, Lisa don't walk away. And then
Lisa was getting up, walking around the room, but she was not walking away until she finally left. And then Andy was like, is she coming back? And I'm like, we're on lunch.
I got what Meredith was saying, how she was like, you're just yelling at her because... And everything she says, you're mad at. And everything that Heather would say. Lisa. Everything Heather would say, she would make it feel about her and internalize it and then put it back at Heather. And Heather would internalize it and put it back at her. Right. Which it was, no one really was getting ahead. You know what I mean? It was just yelling. Yeah. You're wrong, I'm right. Yeah. You're wrong.
It was just, the fight was going nowhere, and it was a storyline I was barely interested in, so, but overall, I'm back for next week, and we're here, because, like, Salt Lake, I would say, is great. I'm ready for season 2, and I think it's going to be fabulous. Do you have anything to say, Riker?
No, he's, like, looking at me as a longing love.
Okay. Well, the next thing I want to talk about is, what are you excited for New Jersey? Real Housewives of New Jersey, it premiered last night. We watched it the next day, so I guess it premiered on Wednesday night, and we're filming this on Friday, and I'm so excited. I'm ready for these ladies to be back. There was so much happening. What I will say about some of those seasons on the some of the cities on the West Coast, the drama just comes so slow. So slow. I just want to talk about like what you're excited for New Jersey.
I'm excited for
Jennifer Aiden. Yeah, I wrote down that I'm excited to see Jen too. Jenna, she's probably my best.
She looks like she's gonna have a bad season where she just drinks a lot and falls down.
I don't know. I think everyone's gonna have a pretty bad season from the trailer.
Everyone's been there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Everyone's had a moment where you just keep drinking and you fall down and you're like, oh my god, maybe I should stop, but you just keep doing it because you're going through something.
Well, Teresa's had a bad decade from the looks of what stuff she's getting ready for. But overall, this is going to wrap up our little Bravo segment here. We're so excited. Thank you, Andy and everyone over at Bravo for keeping the Real Housewives up and running. Cut the COVID storylines, but I mean, they don't bother me as much as they bother some of the other people online. So the next thing I want to sort of get into is this little documentary section that we're going to talk about today. So we watched the Britney doc. What are your thoughts? I think that these documentaries coming out with recently, there's a lot of documentaries, there's a lot of biopics. I think everyone is just bored in quarantine and we want to figure out a little bit of tea about everybody. So that seems to be what's going on. This couple hot takes about that documentary is sort of just the way that the media was the real downfall. And that's the way that they painted it. That the media was the real downfall of this lady named Britney Spears, and I feel bad for her. Like I can't believe that.
I agree.
Like they would. Oh, the first video they showed her on Star Search, and she's like 4, and they're like, "So do you have a boyfriend?" Like what? Like they could never do that. Like if it was a guy. So why is that our society? And why did that have to happen? And then it don't seem to only get worse from there. Like. She got all that success so young, and then
it's very spooky.
It's very spooky because I also had not seen that many interviews of her recently where she's speaking her mind and speaking doesn't seem to have any sort of thing going on and it was refreshing and it sort of just made me want us to get our girl back, you know, it really
give her her life.
Give her her life back. She needs her independence.
Didn't she sing that Miss Independence? Or was that Kelly Clarkson?
You'll have to check me on that. I don't know. But another thing that really was eye-opening was when at the end of the documentary when they said all the people that weren't commenting and that they were invited to comment on the documentary, and it was her mom, her sister, her dad, and they decided not to take part in it. But the last person they said was, "We also invited Britney to take part, but we don't think the invitation ever reached her desk." Gagged. That was oh my god, we need help. They need to figure that out. And there has been some news recently that her dad lost
which is good.
Control of appeal for control for finances. So that's good. So hopefully we'll be following this story here on the Joe Show Talk Show, and hopefully there's going to be some good news coming around the bend. But other news is something I'm very excited for is the Demi Lovato documentary. Oh my god, apparently we watched the trailer last night and it's a 4-part series, which you know I love a 4-part series. And it's gonna follow just some context if you didn't know, Demi put out a documentary a couple years ago before she had her overdose, where she told us all about her life and how and they ended this documentary on and up and how she's gonna kill it and she's gonna rule the world, and then a couple months later or years later, I don't even know, she had that overdose, and it was pretty intense from the looks of the documentary, and I'm really excited to see what she has to say, because it looks like it's gonna be good. What are you excited for? All that. Exactly. I can't agree more. Okay, so the last part of our little show here today is we're going to talk about Drag Race UK and Drag Race Season 13, which RuPaul decided to make come out at the same time. So there's sometimes I forget which season I'm watching or what happened. Very confused. And it also was kind of tricky because the UK accent, I got to put the subtitles on. So it's just a little wild, but I guess let's just do just some hot takes on the series. So who do you think is going to win Drag Race Season 13? Who do you think?
I don't know. That's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up. Between who?
I think...
I'm Simone all the way. She is winning the series.
Oh, God.
There's no way.
I think Simone will be in the final.
There's no way Simone's not winning.
Who else is there? I think Gottmik will be there.
I think Gottmik will be there too for the looks. And she's like got her own little thing going.
And maybe Candy Muse.
Always is pretty well in the challenges. Candy, I don't think so. Yeah,
that's really it. Gottmik and
yeah. The real what we're getting at is the real more interesting show to watch right now is and if you're not watching it is Drag Race UK. Because that show right now is crazy. They're funny. They have more storylines than ever. They went on a 7-month break because of lockdown. Coronavirus happened while they were there. Like they are sequestered for how many weeks? Just before this, before COVID, before anything, sequestered. So they have no idea really what's going on. And then like in the middle of the season, they're like, all right. They go back from the lip sync, which is the end. Someone's eliminated, or someone eliminates themselves. That Ginny Lemon, she eliminated herself, just walked off. And then after that day, this had to be the craziest day there. They go, all right, well, ladies, coronavirus has taken over. We need everybody to hit the house. We might come back. We might not. Like, what are they? It was crazy. Could you imagine being them?
No.
And then like the next week, it's 7 months later. 7 months later. Like, can you imagine? Like, that is like crazy to me. And someone gets COVID, so one of the contestants can't come back. So they have to come back next season. It's just like Crazy Town USA or Crazy Town UK, I should say.
It truly is.
It like is insane. And all of the contestants, I will say, on that UK series,
They're great.
They're all great. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Joe Show Talk Show, joined by my favorite person in the whole world, Joshua Patrick Hanrahan. Follow his YouTube channel. Where can people follow you, Josh?
At Joshua Patrick Hanrahan.
Awesome. Is that everywhere? Instagram?
Everywhere.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.